Hey, everybody. We'll let folks continue to enter in here. We'll get started here in a second. Excited, though, for everybody to be here for our webinar today with Noify to talk about how to improve job costing and project management and ultimately make more money in 2023. For everybody jumping in, we're just trying to give everybody a second to get in here before we kick off. So we'll give it another 30 seconds or so. Still having a bunch of people join in. All righty, I think we're slowing down a little bit. So excited to have everybody here today to talk about job costing, project management, how to make more money in 2023. And one thing just to note is we've got the chat open, the Q&A open. So feel free to even just drop in where you're tuning in from. And then as you have questions, drop those in the chat in the Q&A and we'll get those answered as well. We have Taryn with Noify on the webinar today with us. Super excited to have him here and to, in a way, announce like our partnership together of working together. Taryn, I'll just let you even intro yourself and Noify here as we kick off.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and appreciate you guys having us join in and present with you today. For anyone who hasn't met me, which is a large number of people in the world I've found, my name is Taryn. I manage customer experience at Knowify. I've been with the company for about 7 or 8 years now. I'm located in Denver, so if anyone else is joining from Denver, it's colder than I want it to be today. So, if you see me shivering, that's why. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with Noify, what we do is project management and job costing for contractors. So, any reports around cost versus budget, any help around progress invoicing, stuff like that, and it's all synced up with QuickBooks. And I'll be showing you a little bit more about it as we go.
Awesome. So yeah, excited to have this conversation today. And the layout for the webinar today is going to be, we're going to talk about BusyBusy and job costing inside of BusyBusy first as the time tracking piece. And then what we'll do is pass it over to Taryn to talk about Noify and their project management software and how everything in BusyBusy can tie into Noify, but also all of the additional things that Noify can do for your business. And I see we've got people from New York, let's see, California. So yeah, excited to see everybody here. And again, drop any questions in the chat as we go along. And get this going. Okay, so again, if you're wondering if you're in the right place, you are. It's how are we going to improve project management job costing in 2023? And the thing I wanted to talk about first is when we talk with companies at BusyBusy, these are typically some of the biggest things that we see. And I wanted to start by talking about them. And as I do, or before I do, I wanted to just ask, and if you can drop this in the chat, how's everybody tracking time right now? Are you using paper time cards? Are you using QuickBooks Time? Are you using BusyBusy? Like, what's everyone doing right now for time tracking? Just to kind of gauge where everybody's at. ClockShark, QuickBooks Time, that's awesome. I love it when I see people using softwares instead of just paper time cards. So looking at this, the first one is just budget versus actual. And this is something that BusyBusy and Noify does really well, is it gives people insight into what's happening on all of my jobs. Typically, when I talk to companies who are using like a paper time card, they don't know what jobs they're making money on and what jobs they're losing money on. So they're judging it based on like their bank account. So I have $5,000 extra in my bank account than I did at the start of the month. I made money. And the issue is they may not realize that of the 5 jobs they did, 2 of them lost money. And that's typically a huge thing that we see. Also, it's just becoming more efficient. So whether that's in the field or in the office, we see companies, especially like with running payroll, companies will reduce the time spent on payroll when using BusyBusy by 60%, especially when they're coming off of a paper time card. And that's like, I actually talked to a tile company a little while ago, and I talked to their payroll manager, and she also did their estimating. And she said that last summer she was able to take her first 2-week vacation because of using BusyBusy. She was able to run payroll from her computer. All the employees' time cards were already in there, and made her life way easier. Went from taking a day to do time cards to about an hour. The other thing that we see with companies using BusyBusy is an increase in profit. And in fact, we have a webinar on this where we brought on a client named Xander Solutions. And this client made an extra $1 million the first year they implemented BusyBusy. And so for this company, it's a little extreme, because you look at, on average, a construction company has about a 10% profit margin. So this company was doing about 30 million. So with that 3 million profit margin, we were able to increase it by 30%, add that additional million. But what was really interesting for them, and it ties into all of this, is as they started to use BusyBusy, they realized that their guys were spending about 40% of their time on things that were not revenue generating. And so they decided they wanted to cut that in half. That was their goal, was to cut that in half and go to 20% time on non-revenue generating activities. And so with BusyBusy, they were able to implement that and accomplish it. And as a result, they saved $500,000 in just wasted time. And then with the new 20% of time that was spent on revenue generating activities, they were able to increase profit by $500,000. So in total, they generated an additional $1 million. And so that's an example there where, whether you're a company that has 5 employees, 15 employees, or 50 employees, that additional revenue or additional profit by knowing your numbers and becoming more efficient by using something like BusyBusy is a game changer. And I will hurry and stop sharing my screen here for a second to pull open BusyBusy, and we can start to walk through that. So in talking about time tracking, job costing with BusyBusy, there's a couple of things to note that's really interesting, and that is there's a couple ways to track time with BusyBusy. So whether you want every employee tracking their own individual time, or if you want a supervisor to track time for the crew, or if you want everyone clocking in at the shop with a kiosk, we can do that. And we'll have companies that will use a combination of these all the time. So there's multiple ways. It's really flexible on how you track time. And also, when talking about job costing, we want to match whatever your level of job costing is in terms of trying to capture it in the field. So if you just want employees to capture the job they're working on, great, we can do that. If you want to capture the job and task, we can also do that. Or if you want to capture like the job, the phase, the cost code, we can do that as well. So it's very much geared towards matching whatever you're trying to capture in the field. And with that, I'll just go ahead and show. So as an employee, as I clock in, I'm able to clock in and grab the specific project that I'm working on. And then, like I talked about, if I'm actually doing some demolition, let's say, if I'm using equipment, I can track time to equipment as well. And then I'm clocked in. I can do that from our scheduling feature as well. But then we have a couple other features in BusyBusy that's geared around liability protection for you as an owner of a company. And so one thing we do is we capture a time card signature. And so at the end of a pay period, an employee will sign their time card. And it looks like, let's see here. There we go. I've already signed for last week, so I can sign that time card. And one thing to note with that is I talked with a contractor a while ago, and they had a employee who worked for him for a couple of years. They had to let him go. And when they did, the employee took him to court saying they didn't pay him the accurate amount. And he showed up to court with a notebook full of time entries for the full 2 years. And because the company had never gotten his sign off or his signature on a time card proving that it was actually his time and he agreed with it. The court sided with him, and of course they had to pay him a bunch of extra dollars because he had extra hours in his notebook. So that's one of the ways that we capture some liability protection, as well as photo documentation. So I have the ability, I'll just take a photo of my computer here, add a note to it, and it will tag it to the project. It'll geo-stamp it, date stamp it, time stamp it, all of that good stuff. And I hit done and it's saved in BusyBusy. And I was talking to, it's actually a local company here in Southern Utah who avoided an entire lawsuit because of our photo feature. So they stack rock walls, and a rock wall collapsed. An attorney called and said, hey, yeah, we're suing you because this rock wall collapsed. They got all of their photos in BusyBusy, sent them right over and said, hey, here's the work we did, we're good. Didn't hear from the attorney for a couple of weeks. Finally, when the attorney responded, it was, hey, thanks for sending that over. You're right, you guys did everything correct. So we kept digging. Turns out a neighbor dug a pool, broke a pipe, stuffed a rag in it, and kept on going. And so your rock wall actually helped keep everything up because it was built so well. So in that instance, saved him tens of thousands of dollars. And so as an employee as well, I can do a couple other things. I can go on break. I can switch from job to job or task to task. I can go leave a description even as well. I'll just show here one switch. So let's say I'm headed over to this bank, and I'll even just track my drive time for this, hit done, and then I keep on going for the day. Once I'm done for the day and I'm ready to clock out, I hit this clock out, and we've got a couple of features turned on here. Again, it's just liability protection. I've heard from half a dozen contractors that I've personally talked to where this injury report or this injury answer is something that would have saved them thousands of dollars in false worker comp claims had they been using BusyBusy when they had a false worker comp claim, where one was an employee had left and worked on a car in the evening, dropped the engine on his hand, broke his hand, came back the next day, faked the injury at the job, and was able to get that worker comp claim even though he had not been injured on the job, and ended up costing the company thousands of dollars in additional worker comp fees, as well as their safety score was damaged because of that. So being able to get that yes or no answer of, I mean, if I was injured, what happened, but also capturing that non-injury every day. And then also break policy, especially I turned to this on specific for our California companies, where you guys all know in California how big of a deal it is to make sure that you're capturing your break compliance. And then is my time accurate? So again, just making sure that employee is checking that off. I hit submit and I'm clocked out. And one thing I didn't cover here is just the GPS features as well. So as an employee and as a company, you get to decide what GPS features you want. So if you don't care about GPS, it's something you can turn off. If it's something that you want that visibility of where are my guys clocking in at, where are they as they go throughout the day, where are they taking their breaks, where are they clocking out, that is something that we do have. And in fact, again, we've seen companies where there was one company specifically where it saved them thousands of dollars because they had a GC who had they'd agreed to a job, they did it, the GC was going to pay them for 80 hours of work. And GC came back and said, nah, I actually think you guys spent about 50 hours on it, so I'm going to pay you for 50 hours. They said, nah, we can actually prove it. So they grabbed the reporting in BusyBusy with the GPS stamps of like, here are guys, you can see they spent 80 hours at the job site. So like we need to be paid for the 80 hours. And the GC was so excited. He liked the report so much. He asked them like going forward to always continually send him that report, and even recommended other subs use it and send him that report so he could have actual visibility to it. And so with that pretty much covers our app. If there are any questions at this point, let me know. But to jump over to the dashboard, the one thing I want to just cover here quickly is our labor budget tool. So I can come in here and with all of the information in Noify, like for the proposal, you know how many hours you're going to spend on the job, what the cost is, you can enter that into this budget. So as the employees track time to that in BusyBusy, it'll populate this budget. And I can come in here and see, even by cost code, how much labor cost has been spent on each job and each task, as well as labor hours and even equipment hours and equipment cost if you're an equipment, heavy equipment company. And then jumping over to just our time cards. So for anyone here, and I mean, if you are managing payroll, feel free to just drop in that that's you, or hit a 1, just to let me know who my payroll folks are. But this is typically where they get pretty excited when they're looking at BusyBusy, because all of their, and I'll actually just show this first. So our payroll scanner, and it takes just a second to load everything in here, but it's going to pull all of my data in, and then I can scan for all of these items in a second. So Karen, I see you're running payroll. So you hit this scanner, you can see all this information. Are there any time conflicts? Are these all closed time entries? Did everybody sign their time card? Is everything correct and processed? And in a couple seconds, it will give me these check marks of what's good, what's not good. And then if I need to dive into any of this, I can, or I can even come into my specific time entries for each employee. And on the right here, I can filter by employee. So I'll just even grab my own time. And what's also cool is I can see my GPS of where I've been. So if I scroll all the way down here, here's Thursday, here's the times I've just done here on our webinar. So I can see, great, where am I? Okay, so here's my job all the way up in Salt Lake. And here's me down here in St. George. And we can see I'm just here at our BusyBusy office. And makes it really easy to come in and edit if there's ever a need. So I can adjust this, say I clocked in at 10, save that, and that's done.
Hey, Ryan, to interrupt, we have quite a few awesome questions coming through, but
Please
I
do.
thought it would be helpful to hit this one before we went any further. With this being like co-marketed with Noify and everything. So Nadine's asking a great question in the chat, actually. She said, not familiar with BusyBusy. Is it an extension to Noify or a separate? They're currently using Paychecks for payroll. So thought that would be, if she had the question, maybe everyone else did too.
That's a great question. And I should have clarified that a little more at the beginning. So Knowify and BusyBusy are 2 separate systems and separate companies. We work together, but it's 2 different systems. And then in terms of like using Paychecks for payroll, we integrate, can push time to Paychecks in pretty much any payroll system that way. Where this is where you're able to review all of that payroll time, have all that time card information sink in, verify, validate it here, and then push it to whatever payroll system you're using, whether that's QuickBooks, Paychecks, ADP. It doesn't matter. We can push it there. But yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate that, Bracken. To jump through here, and just a couple of other things here to show. And so inside of each project, like I talked about, there are some GPS features. So I can set a geofence on each job, and I can move that around whatever I need. There's a couple of different features here that we can do to help employees as they implement this. One is a reminder. So as employees drive into the geofence, it'll remind them to clock in, and as they leave, it'll remind them to clock out. And then also just an on-site verification, which requires they be inside the geofence in order to clock in. And those are things that are customizable. You can turn those on and off whenever you need. All your photo documentation is going to come here. We do have scheduling as well. So if you need to schedule out employees to each job, to each task, leave notes for them, that's something we can do as well. And then the last thing I wanted to hit on here before letting Taryn walk us through Noify is just this activity report in BusyBusy. So again, focusing on the labor hours and labor cost. At a glance, you can come in here and see how many hours you've spent on each job. I can drill in and see, okay, great, who worked on my Georgia Avenue job? And then inside here, I can come in and click through and go, okay, great, how many hours or when was Brock on this? Great, so Brock was on this on Thursday, and this is exactly what he did. Great. Or let's say I'm tracking time to a cost code. I can track time to a cost code here and see, okay, we're doing a lot of metal siding here. And then I can click into that and say, well, who's doing the metal signing? Great, I got Aaron, Braden, Brock, and Cicely doing that. So that is pretty well gets us covered. The other two things just to mention, we do have the ability to add documents, so you can drop documents in and have those in the field for the employees to grab, annotate, add back to the project, as well as daily reports. And so the ability to have employees in a couple of clicks generate a daily report that will show whether, who worked on the job, material used, cost codes worked on, all of that good stuff. And then just looking at a couple of the questions here, cost to use the system. So BusyBusy is $10 a month, and that's our annual pricing per user. And then Corey, great question. So how is BusyBusy different than Noify time tracking? And Taryn, you know the Noify side better. From our conversations with Taryn and the Noify team, I think it's some of the differences are our liability capture, some of the things we capture from a liability standpoint, as well as some like the GPS stuff. But Taryn, you can also fill in there.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to, I even learned a couple more while we were going through your little demo here, so that helps out. But for instance, the usability of the geofence right there, the drag and drop extend size, that's something that's a very handy feature in BusyBusy that doesn't exist in Noify. Although we do have GPS as part of our time tracking, it doesn't have that same nice drag and drop interface. Daily reports, as we're looking at right now. Again, I think Noify is going to have comparable features, but they will never be as robust as BusyBusy's current offering, just because they've mastered time tracking, and although it's a small part of what we do, it's not going to be as robust as what BusyBusy's offering. And then Ryan mentioned a couple of different payroll integrations as well as built-in payroll. Those are things that are really nice to have inside BusyBusy, where we do sync with QuickBooks timesheets. If you need more direct payroll integrations, that's a nice benefit of using their system as well.
100%. And that, Anthony, we do have monthly pricing. It's $12 per user, and that's the monthly pricing. And then I did want to pull this up, and Corey, it's great timing for your question of how BusyBusy and Noify integrate, work together. So this is what it looks like. So all of your information in Noify, your projects, it's all going to sync to your QuickBooks. And then BusyBusy does integrate with QuickBooks as well. So all your projects, employees, all of that stuff will sync over from QuickBooks into BusyBusy. And then all of the time data that's captured in BusyBusy can be pushed into Noify. So that is what that looks like in terms of pushing time data and project data back and forth through Noify.
And I'll be showing that bottom side of the triangle as part of my demonstration in Noify as well.
Yes. And yeah, that's actually, I'll kick it over to you.
Nice. I give myself a good little segue there.
That's right.
So I did give a brief overview of kind of what Noify does earlier, but again, just to reiterate, Noify specializes in job costing and project management for contractors. And essentially, what we want to do is very similar to what BusyBusy wants to do, in that we want to give contractors information and knowledge about what's happening in their company, in their business at any point in time. I pulled up a sample of one of our customers, Michael in Vancouver, who, while he was working through his jobs and getting his information together, he was finding that there was a lot of different points of input. There was a lot of manual entry, and it was just a lot all put together, whether he was entering receipts into QuickBooks after collecting them from the field, getting paper timesheets together, whatever it was, he had the thought of surely there must be a solution that can put all this together. And sure enough, there is, and that's really what Noify is offering. And so he says that he's saving 2 hours of time in the office a day. A lot of people will say at the end of the day, that's really what you want, right? You want your time back. You work so you can do all the things that you do when you're not working, and having solutions like this really gets you as many of those hours as possible. And so what I'll do, I could speak on slides for a while, but I always like just kind of showing you guys around the system and giving a little bit more information on how all this is going to work. And if you have questions, again, just throw them in the chat, throw them in the Q&A. I'll tackle them as we go. But I'll show you an example of setting up a job in Knowify and how to get the reporting on where you stand on a job at any point in time. So I'm going to actually grab a job that I saw in Ryan's BusyBusy account, just so we can kind of mimic here a little bit. Now, when I create this new job and it prompts for a customer, the customer database is saved in Noify, and we do actually integrate that with QuickBooks as well. It's a big part of what we do is our QuickBooks integration. It's bi-directional in a lot of spots, and it's going to give us the ability to enter data into whichever system works better for us. So if I prefer to manage clients in QuickBooks, they come back, and vice versa. And what's nice about that is as I add jobs in Noify, it's actually going to put them into QuickBooks, which puts them into BusyBusy with their integration. So again, we're trying to stay as seamless as possible and make sure we're not double entering too often. But the process in Noify really starts with budgeting, and I'm going to stay somewhat simple here. I'll just call this construction services. Where our phases can be cost codes. It's another place where, if you're tracking time to categories and cost codes in BusyBusy, we can hit specific phases for reporting in Knowify. But what we're really doing here is being able to build out more detailed budgeting to better understand what's going to go into the cost of this job. So when it comes to things like materials, I can come in and say, okay, I'm going to need to buy wire for this job, and I need 2,000 feet. And using a product database that I built in Noify, it's going to say how much I'm going to spend on the job based off of what I need to buy. And so here's just a little bit more of the material side of things here. 50 of these, it's going to build a materials budget of $4,000 based off of that info. And when it comes to the labor budgeting, I could basically say, like, I need a tradesman on this site for 40 hours. I need a foreman for 20 hours. And this is just my estimated cost now. The job should cost me $7,300. And I can use that information to create a proposal now. So not just tracking our cost versus budget, but also being able to track our revenue and invoicing by saying, okay, take my budget from earlier, add in a markup, and this can actually be sendable for a digital e-signature. We want to be a one size fits all, put everything in one place type of solution. So, it's not just creating the documents for the sake of invoicing later on, but you're actually getting digital e-signature right through Noify. And once it's live, you'll be able to start invoicing as well. But I really do like I want to spend a little bit extra time working on the job costing aspect of this, because this is one of the more powerful things that people like to use in Noify. The idea is if I have a list of materials that I need to buy on a job, I could just say create purchase, choose which items from my budget on purchasing, and right through the system, I can just generate a purchase order without having to re-enter that information. And it can be emailed directly to my vendors through Noify. And I can actually manage my bills through Noify as well and have them sync up with QuickBooks as I go. So here's the purchase order that I created. But at some point, ABC Supply is going to be sending me a bill. And I can just come right in here and say, create a bill for this PO. And it re-references these items. I can adjust unit pricing as I need. Really, whatever is going to be the final point of entry. We just want to make sure that correct up-to-date information is in Noify. And you'll see that it's going to send it to QuickBooks. So, if I'm doing all of my accounting through QuickBooks, which is so commonly the case, This keeps me from having to enter once for job costing, enter again for accounting. It's all just one place. It's all fully integrated. Payments can be recorded in either system. So if we prefer to manage cash flow in QuickBooks, that always syncs up as well. And as I enter this information, it's just updating where we stand on this job. So I can see an update of I've spent $3,500 out of $4,000 budgeted for materials. Now, when it gets into labor costing, I can get some information here too. And as a lot of you know, we do have our own time tracking. But if you're working with BusyBusy, since it's getting all of the job information, phase information from Noify through QuickBooks, you can export time through BusyBusy and choose to import it into Noify. So I actually asked Ryan to share this spreadsheet with me. This is something that's an export right from BusyBusy, where I can come through and it's going to automatically take some guesses based off of what it sees. It's going to see this must be a first name field, a last name field. If it ever doesn't know, I can say, oh, well, that one I actually happen to know is the duration. This is a client name, which is necessary for time import. And then this is actually going to be our phase name in Noify, which would be a cost code from BusyBusy. And when I finalize this import, it's going to generate a bunch of time entries based off of everything from our spreadsheet in BusyBusy. And you can see that it's automatically coding to corresponding jobs, specific phases of the jobs, and anything it doesn't know, it still imports, but as unallocated. But I could see that job that I just created earlier today, I can open that up and see an update on where I stand with labor costing based off of time entries that were imported. And sorry, I forgot to hit a specific phase with this one, but it's going to show me that I've spent $582 on labor, and that's without really any input directly into Noify, as much as I'm using the information collected in BusyBusy, dropping into Noify and getting an update on where I stand. I can see it looks like I've spent a little over half of my budget. So I want to actually now invoice a little over half of my contract. This is where I would say invoice now. We can take in percentages. So let's call it 65%. So I'm doing some quick mental math. And we'll create an invoice, which can be emailed directly to your client. It'll automatically log that in QuickBooks for you. We offer a customized invoice and proposal documents as needed. And again, payments are always bi-directional. So, as we're, managing cash flow in QuickBooks or in Noify, it's updating the other system. And I'll get a good little breakdown of reporting on here's our current revenue, here's our current cost, the resulting profitability, and a real-time work in progress number that updates based off of how much I've spent against my budget and how much I have invoiced so far. So I could see a real-time earned revenue. Negative in my case is actually good because it means I've somewhat over-invoiced and I'm coming in under budget. Whereas if we're getting a positive WIP number, it's basically just letting us know, here's how much you should invoice at this point in time. And we have a variety of reports on this to kind of show you where you stand there as well. And again, if we ever need to see some information on our labor costing, I can see it updated here where, for this project, my labor hours, I have, 2 hours and 12 minutes out of my 80 budgeted hours for tradesmen. I can see how much we're spending on individual users and individual types of user. That's 6 hours and 12 minutes of foreman time, which weren't budgeted, but I could still see their cost in the system. And just as I scroll through here, I can get a little bit more detail than just here's our overall project cost versus budget, but here's how much we spent versus how we budgeted. So on specifically labor and on specifically this phase of this job. So as we go through different projects and we spend more than expected, less than expected, I can use this information to know how we can budget better in the future. One thing that Ryan spoke a lot about was the concept of, learning from the data that you have and making those adjustments. And that's really what we want to do, is give you that information in a good, easy to read format and reporting, so that you could say, we actually under budget foreman hours whenever we do paving. I can probably win more jobs by quoting lower prices maybe we don't make quite as high of a margin whenever we do these jobs, but we win so many more of them that the overall revenue of my company is significantly increasing just because I learned that I can bid lower prices on these. We can also get information like I actually happen to always go over budget whenever I'm doing paving. So maybe that's something I need to factor in a higher markup on, or maybe it's something that we scrap altogether. We've had companies who use Knowify for several years come to us and say, without Noify, we wouldn't have learned that we're losing money every time we do this specific type of work. We've stopped offering that as one of the services of our company, and all of our profitability of all of our projects has shot up, and we're running as a much more profitable, much more efficient business moving forward. And so that type of information, it's invaluable. You just need to know where you stand on any of your jobs at any point in time and be able to be actionable on that. I think that's about all I really wanted to show as far as my Noify demonstration goes, but I'm going to jump in the chat here.
One question for you right off the bat is, can you import information if you use a bid software?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have a variety of different ways that spreadsheet information could be imported into Noify, whether it's overall budget information, granular budget information. Let's say you're using a takeoff solution, you can get that material list and budget directly into your project plans. You also have the ability to import, total bid values. Really anything that you're getting from other softwares in spreadsheet format. We want to be flexible in Noify to let you import that into our system. Because again, although we do offer a lot of features inside Noify, we don't want to require the use of any individual one. So just to use the BusyBusy example, yes, we do have time tracking, but you can see how much more robust the feature set is for time tracking in BusyBusy. So you should have the option to use that, but still get all of this detailed job costing and reporting out of Noify and have it be, your main hub of knowledge on how you're performing on jobs, but still use other tools to then get the data that you want out of Noify.
That's awesome, Taryn. We've had a couple other questions come through into the private questionnaire. So one that I've seen actually a lot of people trickle in asking if there'll be a recording of this webinar sent out. And so for those of you who trickled in later, yes, we'll definitely be sure to send that to you. And then do you see other questions in your side of the chat, Taryn, that you want to answer? If not, I have a few in the Q&A I can hit you guys with.
There was a question about Noify and if it integrates with Foundation. That's not a accounting integration we have at this point in time, but we do integrate with all versions of QuickBooks Online, and we can connect with QuickBooks Desktop as well. There was a question that actually it looks like was answered by someone else in the chat about whether or not we could do AI invoicing. Absolutely. It's one of the more commonly used features in our system. We have a invoice builder that automatically generates an AIA style document that mimics the G702 and G703 format. Sorry. I was going to tackle really quickly producing subcontracts to Noify. We do have built into our purchasing system the concept of purchasing services from subcontractors, and you can log progress invoices that you receive from your subs into the system, and we'll update the project plan to say here's how much you agreed on with your sub, here's how much they've billed to date, and here's how much you've paid to date. So you get every step of that process and each number that's relevant to managing subcontractors.
What about the AIA change order form, Taryn?
So we do offer change order management inside Noify, and if you have specific forms that you need generated, you can always connect with our team. We do offer custom documents as part of our subscriptions. So if you don't like the way that the change order document looks in Noify and you need to adjust it, you can always connect with our team and we'll set that up for you.
And one thing just to note with that, does it integrate with Foundation? If there's anyone using Foundation who wants to use Noify as well, you could use BusyBusy to still push the time information into Foundation while using Noify for the full job costing, the invoicing, the payment collection. So thought I would just note that as well. And then
You want me to hit some of those questions then for you guys?
let's see, the one more here. So BusyBusy and Noify are two different systems. We are two different companies. We've partnered together because of the complementary feature additions that we each have. So even though there is a little overlap, like there's a ton of value for companies looking for both systems to fill those gaps that the one system may have. So that's the reason for it. That's the additional clarification again. And Taryn, if there's anything there you want to hit.
Essentially, if you're in a situation where you're using Knowify and saying, I wish the time tracking had, a more detailed geofence feature, then although we don't have that, we don't want to end up in a situation where you're losing out on all of the other features that Noify offers just because this one doesn't exist. So we have the ability to work with BusyBusy because we want you to have all of the features that work for you and be able to build out a tech stack of, well, I use BusyBusy because it has all the time tracking features I need, but that information then needs to be dropped into Noify for the job costing and reporting features. And so although we are independent companies of one another, we partner just to be able to offer a final stack of features between the two softwares that suits your needs.
Awesome. I love that. One question I did see is in the Q&A was just a concern of how did it typically look when trying to like implement a software where like maybe it's Big Brother, it's something where you're not used to software. And Taryn, I'll let you answer this first, but like, what do you hear from clients and how do you help them overcome that concern of like, my employees won't use it or whatever that is?
Yeah, I always find this to be a bit of an interesting question for a variety of reasons, but I think like maybe a short anecdote about a customer I worked with in the past might help. Essentially, I had a new customer onboard into Noify who their employee actually reached out to us, not informing their management. They called our support line separately to say like, so this person, your app is going to be tracking my location. This doesn't make me comfortable. The reality is it tracks location when you're working. So, for people who are working and they're on the job site, it should be a pretty straightforward concept. It's not really going to be tracking outside of anything work related. And this person, once he learned that, was actually excited because he was saying like, I get to the job site early, I do my job, I get all of my hours in, and, in his case, he gets to earn overtime. So he was saying he was actually getting paid out more overtime as a result of using this solution because he has all of his timesheets factually, logged with location, with time into the job site, time out. And so his work was actually, his paychecks were going up because his total number of hours worked when tracked using a solution like this was actually higher than what he was doing when he was manually filling out a paper timesheet. And it doesn't have to go through as much of a review process. There's not as much back and forth with whoever's running payroll. It's here's when I was at the job site, and you have the geolocation to prove it. And so although I understand the concept of like, well, it seems like it's tracking me too much, it's like as long as you're doing your job and staying honest with your timesheets, it can really only benefit you in these situations.
Yeah, and we see the same thing. A players love to be tracked. Because like you just showed, it shows them, it gives them the ability to stand out more and show what they're accomplishing in a way that's a benefit. And to touch on I always like to give the story of like the GPS thing is it is. It's tracking while you're on the job. Can save your company thousands of dollars. Can be the difference between your company flourishing and having a bankruptcy. And with that, it's only going to track you while you work. I always tell, like, if you clock out, go to the bar on Friday night and you don't come home and your wife's calling your foreman saying, like, where is this guy? They're like, I don't know, I can't help. Like, use the app. It's like, nah, he's clocked out. There's nothing we can do. So it's not in any way trying to watch over you. It's just to help your company from a liability perspective and reporting perspective.
Yeah, in this specific case that I was referring to, the guy made me double clarify that it doesn't mean that we can read their text messages. So if that's ever a concern, you can always guarantee neither BusyBusy nor Noify will be reading your text messages.
Nope.
Well, I know that we were trying to keep it right at 40 minutes, but there's one more question that I think it will be super valuable for us to hit on really quick. And then if we didn't get to your guys' questions, don't worry. You'll either hear from us or Noify to get those answered for you. But question is rollout time. How long does it take to get systems like this up and running and introduced to the team? 'Cause for a lot of our people on here, they're going into busy season right now. And so it's a really fair question.
Taryn, go ahead.
Yeah, so on the Noify side, the initial setup is pretty rapid. You can have your account set up and connected to QuickBooks, which helps import a lot of the data in 5 minutes. As far as getting the team trained up and running, it very rarely takes more than a month to see everything, running pretty seamlessly. And we have a pretty hands-on onboarding team. So anytime you would like to get started and just want to have a step-by-step process that will get everyone up and running, we'll work with you on that and make sure that we can hit the timelines you need.
Awesome. And for us, it's similar. It's rollout time's typically a couple of weeks. It's an initial onboarding meeting to get your account set up, maybe one other meeting to help get your employees trained up. In that first meeting, we'll hook up to your QuickBooks, to your foundation, to Paychecks or whatever systems you're using. But after that, it's a slick rollout. It's a week or two to get it fully up and running. Yeah, I think that pretty much gets us wrapped up. We'll let everybody get back to their day. I think it's pretty clear why we wanted to have this webinar. Had a ton of good conversation here. Appreciate Taryn and Noify for being on here and walking us through the project management systems that they have that will help improve your business, make your lives easier. Yeah, thanks for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Take care.